Alright. Hello. Welcome. I think it's been a good minute here or so to where people should have gotten the notifications that we are live. So yeah, let's begin. Okay, let's actually check my mic. Everything's working correctly, hopefully. Yes. Perfect, and my audio should be fine. And let's lower down the music part of the audio. And I think we're good. Alright. What's up, everyone? What's up? Hello. Alright, so if you guys don't know, well, I mean, you guys can see it on the thumbnail of the live stream, the title of the stream here, and on your own screens here. We're going to be talking about ticker symbol OPEN, or opendoor Technologies Incorporated. Alright, so this one, I haven't done a full dive, a fundamental analysis dive on this company just yet, so I'll be going over just some of the surface level fundamental metrics that I like to go over with you guys, and again, I use Koifin for that, right? It's not sponsored. This stream is not sponsored by Koifin or anything like that. I just really like Koifin, right? I've been using them for a while now, and I have my own little scanner that I made, which I'll show you guys in a couple minutes here. But I like to use it just to look at the basic fundamental metrics that I like to look at for a company, right? It gives a quick snapshot of what a company is doing and how they're doing and how financially stable and balanced they are. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. I see you guys' reactions there. Awesome. Okay. So before we begin, though, I want to go over clearly the fact that tomorrow, all right, is a huge day in the markets. All right, we always get a day like this every single year, right, where we have a culmination of the markets reacting to the FOMC meeting. And again, tomorrow is Chairman Jerome Powell's last news conference as Chairman of the Federal Reserve. And the markets will definitely react off of what he says. I know tomorrow the rate decision is most likely going to be a hold. But whatever he says for the future and for the potentially incoming chaos from the currently nominated, the current nominated person for the chairman position, which is who is Kevin Warsh. And again, I coined the term worst time that we're gonna have with him, because it seems like it's gonna be chairman as a very volatile leader of the Federal Reserve, someone who will bow down to what Trump says, which is absolutely unacceptable as a chairman of a central bank. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's absolutely crazy that we're actually looking to have him, become the Federal Reserve chairman. And the fact that, they had an actual Senate confirmation hearing for him is insane. I was really hoping that it would be someone else, but here we are, and I just know that the Federal Reserve is going to be internally in turmoil, and just like this country is with Donald Trump, right? So, it's just sad to see, but it's what we have to deal with. I know America will prevail, but in the short to mid-term perspectives, I am pessimistic about the future of this country. Well, I can't say like company, because Trump is using this country's basic foundation as if it was a company, as if it was one of his companies, which is why he's doing such a horrible job, right? And his overall ratings as to how he's doing as a president is at historic lows, not just at lows, but historic lows. Okay, and it makes sense. So, again, Federal Reserve Chairman Powell is going to be speaking tomorrow, and it's going to be his last one. So hopefully he stays optimistic and upbeat with his words. Who knows, right? But that's what I'm personally banking on. Maybe he's going to try to be a bit hopeful for his last news conference with all the media that's usually there and asking him questions. But I also do know that he has to answer to all the bad economic data that we've been constantly getting for the past couple of months. Okay, so That's something to really remember for tomorrow. Now, the second part of tomorrow's crazy day will be the absolutely amazing amount of earnings reports that will be coming out pre-market and after hours as well. So that's something that you guys have to understand, because we have like over half of the Max 7 companies reporting, right? Other than Tesla that has already reported, and other than Nvidia that won't be reporting until like mid-May, I think, late to mid-May. So, you know, with all those magnificent 7 companies reporting tomorrow, the markets will move, right? The S&P 500 will move based on how they move, right? And again, with all those companies reporting and all the additional companies that will have been reported, that have reported in the early mornings before the markets open, it will also affect how the markets will open tomorrow. Okay, so again, I mean, it's gonna be quite a day. I'm probably gonna be flustered as well, trying to keep up with all the earnings reports that will be coming out pre-market, and obviously all the earnings report that will come out after hours as well. But midday, we'll be getting that news conference that I'll be honing in on, and yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy. Okay, so with that being said, all right, I really don't have anything to offer for the overall markets tomorrow, because again, whatever I say will be invalidated during market hours and after market hours too, all right, because of these major catalysts. Hey, what's up? Hello. Okay, so yeah, so let's now begin with OPEN, or Opendoor Tech Incorporated. All right, and again, thank you guys so much for almost 650 subs. We've grown, I think like 15 people joined so far in the last couple of days, so absolutely amazing. I'm really liking the fact that you guys are enjoying my content, enjoying the information that I give you guys, and enjoying the fact that I'm personally enjoying the fact that you guys are willing to stay and stick around by hitting that subscribe button. So if you guys are new here and if you guys enjoy and are able to actually apply what you guys learned in this stream, make sure you guys hit that sub button so you guys can continue to learn from me and just, you know, overall be able to apply whatever that you guys have learned on any of my videos or any of my streams, and actually apply it to your own trading journey. Okay, so yeah, so with all of that being said, now I really want to go over, first of all, the technicals for OPEN, right? Because again, I'm a technical analyst here, right? I only focus on technical analysis most of the time, you know, around like 85% of the time, unless I really want to look at the fundamentals of a company, right? But again, the technical analysis is very, very important, all right? So, and again, there's a lot of debate around that when it comes to, you know, what's better, right, fundamental or technical. Again, I've given this answer multiple times. I think it's a good idea to have a good balance of both, but only technical analysis will give you the perfect entries and perfect exits. And again, I use the word perfect lightly, but I mean that in a sense of time, right? So if you guys don't know how to enter or when to enter into a company based on technical analysis, then you won't ever know how to enter a company, because fundamentals won't tell you that, okay? So with technical analysis, you're actually dealing with the share price, the actual numbers of the company, right? The actual underlying share price of a company, okay? So yes, you can get a lot of different, you know, multiples and you know, ratios and etc. off of fundamental analysis, and get a full picture, a clear picture of whether or not a company is undervalued or overvalued, or you know, just right at a good value, right? So, you know, that's all possible, but again, you just can't know when to enter, when to exit based off of fundamental analysis alone. Does that make sense? All right. Okay. So now, with that being said, now let's finally go into OPEN. I keep on going on to this little tangents, but I want to go over what I put in the CFO Swinger Watch Report for this week. Okay. So I have written this here, this long paragraph. Okay, and I'll be going over them one by one, every single sentence. Okay. So let's first start off with right here. Okay, So I said we are looking at a potential monster here as the weekly MACD or MACD is showing a potential pivot in momentum this week. And I have to actually go on the weekly time frame for that. So that we're looking at the weekly MACD or MACD. So you guys can see here, right? On the weekly time frame, we have my arrow here that I put on this chart on Sunday night. Well, not Sunday night. Well, I put this on here on Saturday, but you guys know what I mean, right? So for any of my readers who read it on Sunday night, you guys would have known that this is the arrow that I put in the actual report. And I also said that this is the exact type of chart that we have been hawking and trading for the past 2 weeks, right? We've been looking at and trading these mean reversions where we're having this complete pivot from a downtrend to a quickly reversing uptrend, right? And so we have these mean trade, right, mean reversion trades where we're having the momentum also flip from being bearish to bullish in a very quick manner. So this is what we want to see, right? This is exactly the type of chart that we want to see and trade for the next couple of weeks. And OPEN just checks off all the criteria that we want to see on a perfectly timed and perfectly set up chart like this, right? On this weekly time frame. So I said after the sentence here, oh yeah, right here. But what I love about this stock is that this one has basically consolidated for about 7 months now with very controlled selling and declining volume. So this is a textbook accumulation phase that will be officiated once the price breaks out of that massive macro descending resistance trend line in red right here. Okay, and on top of that, the price never officially the price never officially broke below the major weekly 50 and 200 SMAs, the dark blue line and the 200 lines respectively here. Okay, you see it, the weekly 50 and the weekly 200. Okay, and the price really never broke below it, guys. I mean, if you just take a look right here on the white arrow, these two weekly candlesticks, right? We had a slight close below the weekly 50 SMA, but again, if I was looking at this name at this point in time on April 6th, okay, on the week of April 6th, I wouldn't be concerned because yes, we did break below the weekly 50 SMA and closed below the weekly 50 SMA on this week. But we also know that there has been a previous time where we pivoted around $4 and I would say around $4.25-ish cents, right? As seen on these two weekly candlesticks. So I would be betting that there could be a double bottom here. But at the same time, from a bigger picture perspective, we can also see that the price is still sitting above this weekly 200 SMA, right? And at this point in time, the weekly 200 SMA began to flatline, which is a great sign that prices can start moving away from these two major SMAs, the weekly 50 and the weekly 200 SMAs. So that would have been my my type of thinking if I was looking at this ticker on the week of April 6th. But then the week after, we saw exactly the support coming in around that $4.25 level, and we saw the buyers immediately retaking this weekly 50 SMA, right? So again, what I'm doing here, guys, is reconstructing the story here of why we're paying attention to OPEN, open. Okay, so if you guys are not understanding why I'm looking at the previous action, well, we have to do that, right? We have to do that to get a whole picture and analysis from a technical perspective on how open has been trading for the past couple of weeks. So with the price action here, it clearly indicates to me that yes, indeed, we really want to stay above the weekly 50 and the weekly 200 SMAs and stay above it so that we can move away from these massive SMAs, right? These massive long-term SMAs. Does that make sense? Let me catch my breath here. Okay. Awesome. All right. So with that weekly time frame perspective in mind, right, and the fact that we have this massive descending channel or massive flag, but again, I really wouldn't call this a flag because of the fact that this entire descending channel here has been created in a time frame of 7 months. So if it was supposed to be a flag, right, then I would have expected the price to maybe pivot around the weekly 21 SMA and then break out, right? So let me just give you guys a little perspective here. If it was supposed to be a flag, I would have expected a breakout after a nice retest of the weekly 21, and then eventually a nice breakout over this descending resistance trend line, right, and the eventual retest, and then it continues to go up higher and higher and higher, right? So this would have been a nice weekly bull flag, but instead we got very controlled selling with declining volume, which obviously indicated that we were in an accumulation phase. And again, just the fact that the price was over and stayed over and continued to want to stay over the weekly 50 and the weekly 200 SMAs clearly indicated to me that this is definitely a 7 month long accumulation phase. Okay, so this is more of a macro descending channel base as well. Okay, now to me, in the past, including this week, in the past 3 weeks alone, including this week, I think the bulls have just needed more volume, right? Because if you go closer to the weekly time frame, the weekly volume has been increasing for the past 2 weeks, right? And this week, obviously, we have yet to see how much volume that we can get tomorrow, since tomorrow is such a pivotal day in the markets, in the overall broader markets. But for this name to actually break out of this massive 7 month long consolidation and accumulation phase, we need an average volume on the weekly time frame that's over 220 million in volume. Okay, so I would want to see nearly 500 million in volume for this to have a nice official breakout to the upside. All right, so I need something that's double, more than double the actual average volume on the weekly time frame. Okay, so that'll be giving the bulls a clear indication that we want to see the price trends, every single price trend and every single time frame to be to the upside. Does that make sense? Okay, so volume has to be at least reaching 500 million on the weekly time frame here, and that'll be way over the current average weekly volume of 220 million. All right, but again, I really like the fact that we've been stair-stepping up higher with the volume as the price makes higher highs and higher lows on the weekly time frame. Okay, and we're really getting close to this convergence point or convergence area of the two descending trend lines that make up that overall descending channel chart pattern. Does that make sense? Okay, so take a deep breath there. Right? I know that was a lot of words, but hopefully you guys are catching on and understanding. Okay, now if you go to the daily time frame, we have a very nice wedge bull flag, right, or bull pennant flag, right? So what we have here is a very simple bull pennant flag within the macro descending channel chart pattern. So we have convergence of chart patterns that are both inherently bullish. So we have a macro descending channel, and then we have a micro bull pennant flag that's forming within the macro descending channel. Right, that was a lot of different words there, but again, we have the macro descending channel, and then we have the micro bull pennant flag. Right, so currently, from the past 2 days alone, just on Monday and today, clearly there is a lot of resistance around the 5.55 to 5.60 resistance area, and thankfully, right, this is a pretty much an established level of resistance that we've seen in the past as well, right? This is not new, right? So the price is just respecting this major level that price has previously respected as a level of support multiple times here. All right, you guys can see that clearly here, and multiple times as resistance here and now currently. All right, so I really love the fact that, you know, even if the price basically has been moving sideways as well, because again, since I would say since February, the price has been sideways, right? We were at this $5.48 share price all the way back in February, right? And well, late January as well, the last day of January, the last trading day of January, and even back in mid-February and in mid-March, right? So again, the share price has been moving sideways, but if you take a look at the MACD down below, the underlying momentum under the hood here, right, as the price has been moving sideways, the momentum has been slowly, ever so slowly changing, right? We were in the negatives here for the value of the MACD, but now we're heading towards the positives here, okay? And that's a very good sign because again, as you guys can clearly see on the weekly time frame, we're about to see a potential pivotal crossover on the MACD, a bullish crossover at that as well. And all of that is happening while the price is getting extremely tight underneath the massive resistance level of this descending channel chart pattern. So we have all of these stacked, converging, bullish indicators that are clearly telling us that, hey, buyers are really willing to, they're really, like absolutely really willing to break the price up higher and away from all of our major weekly SMAs, daily SMAs as well, and finally over the descending resistance trend line that you guys see here that makes up the macro descending channel chart pattern, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so again, the technicals here really checks off every single criteria that I'm looking for when we're looking for these mean reversion trades or just overall a breakout trade. Now, I do know that breakouts have to be facilitated by an overall bullish market. So this one won't try to break out unless we have an overall broader market strength that can influence, breakouts and individual tickers like OPEN. Does that make sense, right? Now, before I go over the fundamentals and why I have a bull case on this company, or obviously, well, from a technical perspective, I'm obviously bullish, but that's not financial advice. Do your own research. But for the daily 200 SMA, right? The daily 200 here, I am actually really liking this, the way that the daily 200 has been moving, because rather than pivoting downward, it's been moving upward, right? I mean, just take a look at this, right? I mean, let me just hide all my candlesticks here. Okay. And hide my drawings. So all we're left with are my SMAs. So just based off of the SMAs alone, short-term to mid-term perspective, the price trend is in an uptrend, okay? And for the long-term perspective, the price trend is in a sideways trend. Why? Because the price, yes, it is indeed over the daily 50 SMA, but it is still consolidating tightly underneath my daily 200 SMA that has been moving up higher and higher and higher, which is intriguing. And that is the reason why I have my short and midterm and long-term perspectives slightly different, just based off of my SMAs alone. Now, when I hone in onto the daily 200 SMA, right, the fact that it's moving upward is a great sign, because that means that the price really wants to get out and away from the daily 200 SMA. And the crossover of the daily 10 SMA, this red line here, over my 21, this light blue line, and my 50, this dark blue line, clearly also indicates that as long as the price is able to uphold the daily 10 SMA as it continues to ride on top of it every single trading day for the past 4 days here, right? And continue to get squeezed in between the daily 200 that's still rising up higher and the currently rising daily 10 SMA, there is a good chance that we get a second big leg up higher. Right now, you might be wondering, wait, Andrew, where's the first leg up higher? Well, right here. Right? So this is the saving grace here, where we also saw previously that on the week of April 6th, right? We saw the prices moving below on the weekly time frame, the weekly 50 SMA, and on the daily time frame, we've obviously moved and closed below all major SMAs multiple times. But what happened the week after on April 13th, right? We had an immediate reaction, very, very quick reaction to retake the weekly 50 SMA, which in turn retook most of my short to mid-term SMAs on the daily time frame for this single leg up higher move. Okay, so again, the bulls are present. All we need are just more buyers, more bullish sentiment in this name to clearly give us that nice pivot to the upside and break out to the upside to give us the second leg up higher move. Does that make sense? All right. Now, today there was actually an upgrade, a PT upgrade, a price target upgrade from I forgot what bank or analyst or institution. I don't quite remember, but either way, there was an analyst who upgraded Open to $10, which is the reason why we saw pretty good strength coming from Open, even though the markets were pulling back slightly, giving us a nice consolidation day today for most of today. And I just love the fact that it was still closing above my daily 10 SMA while seeing an increase in buying volume as well. So again, clearly, buyers just need more buyers and more bullish volume and bids. Okay? Now, with all of this being said, it is now time to take a look at the fundamentals. Usually the boring stuff, right? But I promise you it's not boring when you use my fundamental metrics that I like to use to give me a nice surface level snapshot of what a company is doing. Okay, so there's Open, and this is my own little filter that I made on Koifin. Okay, so obviously the company is doing, they're doing all right. Yeah, so just off of what I see here quickly, profit margins aren't that great. I mean, that makes sense. We're in a high interest environment. The overall housing market is also not that great. We're in one of the well, not one of the, we are in the historical most expensive housing market of all time, since data collection began on that. And yeah, and people aren't looking to sell right now, even though, oh no, people aren't looking to buy right now. And people who are trying to sell can't sell, so the houses are just staying in the market for months and months and months, even years now at this point. I know there are some houses that were in the market and they went up for sale in like late 2022. They had to take their their offer down for their homes around this year because there's indications that the Federal Reserve will not look to cut rates, and it's a smart decision. Right, it's a smart decision. We shouldn't be cutting rates right now, unfortunately. Okay, so yeah, so Opendoor Technologies here, they've initially garnered a lot of attention with their AI integration lately. I don't really know exactly what the details are on that, but when it comes to AI, and I think Opendoor, I think they're just really trying to bring up comprehensive platform for people who are just overall involved in the real estate industry, and just focusing on improving the customer experience on their platform with this AI integration. So, just so far, in the most recent quarters, right? Based on what I see here, I like exactly what this the board members have been doing, right? If you just focus on these two metrics here, right? I really like to look at these two, right, and compare them. We see that the company is paying down their debt. They have been since the huge bump up higher in debt, this ballooning event here in 2022, right? And we've discussed this plenty of times back in 2021 and 2022, where companies have really seen their debt balance, their total debt ballooning. And I've gone over that multiple times, so I won't go over it again. But this company has significantly lowered their total debt, and that's amazing, right? And yes, we have seen the fact right here that the total debt is still larger than their overall assets that they have now, right? The cash and short-term investments. But I do love the fact that they have been steadily increasing their total amount of cash on hand and short-term investments. Right, this is very, very good. Yes, in these 2 quarters here, as seen here, right, they didn't make any advancements, but still, their total debt went down. I love it when a company begins to focus on their total debt and looking to improve their overall balance sheet. Right, that's where we see the total debt numbers on, right, the balance sheet, and so. And also the overall assets and liabilities, right? So, it's pretty interesting to see this company actually looking to continue to lower their debt, which is, again, positive for the short and long-term future for this company. And obviously, if they ever wanted to sell the company, they can actually value themselves even higher as well with there's less debt in the company, right? So that's a great idea, right, for the longer term. Now, profit margins wise, this is not really nice. Even though I don't really know the actual industry average. Maybe Opendoor is actually a little above average consistently as well, right? Looks like they've been above 8% before, but kind of staying near 7%, at least over 7.50%. So that's great. That's great. And I also love the fact that they've actually managed to have some consistency with positive free cash flow for a couple quarters here. Yes, it looks like 2024 and 2023 hasn't really been nice to them with these negative cash flows, but again, this free cash flow, this FCF metric, just lets me know how they're doing every single quarter, right? How they're using their their revenue, their profits, and just overall. Again, all of this is just to not give me an in-depth analysis from a fundamental perspective, but to just give me a quick snapshot as to how this company is doing. And again, just the moment I opened this up, right, I can just tell that, hey, this company is doing all right, right? They're not doing too bad, but they're also not doing good, right? So, I think this company has a lot of long-term leeway for them as long as they continue to pay down their total debt and they continue to increase their cash on hand, which is again very important for just the runway cash that every company needs in order to survive. And if you guys don't know what runway cash is, right, it's just think of it like this, right? If a company were to cease operations completely, right, they're not making money anymore, how long would a company take before they run out of money, right? And that's that runaway cash, right? That's the amount that they have in the event. Well, again, that's not gonna happen, but in the event, in this hypothetical that if they closed operations, you know, how long would they be able to use that cash to stay open as a company, right? So without, you know, doing business, which is obviously weird, but again, this is just a hypothetical. Okay, so again, yeah, I think this company, from a fundamental perspective, it looks like they're improving so far. I think they had a new CEO, right? I'm pretty sure Open had a new CEO. Oh yeah. It was very recent. Okay, so, oh, okay, I did not know that. He was the COO, right? The Chief Operating Officer of Shopify. And he went to, so he quit that job in Shopify, right, ticker symbol SHOP, and he became the CEO of Opendoor on September 2025. So, hey, with the right leader here, because we know how well Shop has been doing the past decade, I think this new leadership could be promising. I didn't even know that, so that's very, very nice to learn. Okay, yeah, so, okay, well, that changes some things. That can actually increase my price target. But yeah, I was looking at $10 for the price target. I mean, you guys can see it on my on the stream here, on the thumbnail, on the actual title of the stream. But yeah, I was just focusing on $10 because, again, if you were to break out from a technical perspective and continue this mean reversion back to the upside, we would be seeing at least a revisit of the previous 52-week highs. That's above $10 here. Yeah, I think. Yeah. So, I mean, we can even see, wow, look at this. After the earnings report here on August of 2025, it seems like they announced that there will be a new CEO change, maybe on this earnings report. And maybe the anticipation, this anticipation for this very successful guy coming from Shopify, the company, the e-commerce company Shopify, probably brought in a lot of hype, and that probably resulted in this very nice short squeeze run. Oh, and that brings me to a nice little segue here. So Opendoor still has kind of a high short interest percentage. Let me actually look it up. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's way over 10%. Okay, I was correct. So the short interest percentage is sitting at nearly 15%. All I remembered was it was over 10%. So yeah, so pretty high. However, one thing to remember is that with names that are highly shorted like this, they will most likely stay at 10% and higher. But when we start to see the short interest percentage declining in a nice trend, which is what Open has been doing this entire time of this accumulation phase, is telling me that there could be a potential breakout to the upside in share price that will further the decline of the short interest percentage. So the overall short float of Open could reach maybe even like 11% if we're able to see this massive potential breakout over my daily 200 SMA and out of this macro descending channel chart pattern. Okay, so that's pretty interesting to see. Actually, I mean, I knew it was over 10%, but I like the fact that the short interest or the overall just the short float has been moving lower and lower and lower. That's a great sign to see, actually. I didn't even look to check the short interest percentage here, or at least get an updated number in my head. So yeah, I mean that's great. Now, what's also great, and I've recently learned of this as well, as I was going over some recent 13F filings. A lot of Wall Street institutions and hedge funds have, well, they've disclosed a pretty massive position on Opendoor. The last quarter alone, we've seen a huge amount of this company's outstanding shares being bought. And I believe from what I saw on Robinhood's platform, I think there was almost 3 million shares bought by institutions and hedge funds, right? I mean, yes, that may not, seem like a lot, but the fact that these hedge funds and institutions are interested since last year tells me something is up. And the fact that just maybe once these hedge funds and institutions got in, they were the ones looking to control the price action and give us this very nice controlled sideways and controlled selling, right? As they continue to accumulate at lower and lower prices. So that's pretty interesting. I think one major bank, I think it was Morgan Stanley. Yeah, I think it was Morgan Stanley. But I think Morgan Stanley also disclosed a very large position, a large stake. I think it was like 9 to 10% or something like that. I'm pretty sure that they've accumulated, and maybe they even accumulated more. Maybe it's over 10% now. But they disclosed a huge stake in opendoor. So, I really think that maybe the overall opinion on this company is starting to change just because of the fact that the leadership has changed and the fact that they have a pretty, I would say a competent leader here. So this competent leader could just be bringing about some very nice change that Wall Street hedge funds and institutions really want to be involved in. So again, I found this uptick in hedge fund activity on this company fairly interesting, and I would want to be on their side, and especially if there is supposed to be a potential short squeeze as the overall short float, short interest percentage continues to decline month by month and day by day. Okay, now one thing's for sure, there is a chance that we can see higher highs leading into earnings, which will occur on May 7th after hours. So next Thursday, do not forget. Okay, so I think on this earnings report, they're really focusing on how their AI integration has benefited the company, right? To see if this kind of new AI integration and kind of this kind of pivot, like I said earlier, right? This AI pivot to provide more of a better customer experience on their platform has potentially brought more people, right? Yes, the overall real estate industry has been struggling, like the housing and the housing industry alone, right? We've seen commercial real estate struggling on their own post-COVID, but now the housing market is really just struggling as well. So, hey, if this new pivot and this integration of AI into opendoor's business operations has resulted in some increased revenue, increased cash flow, and just overall growth, right, in the overall company itself, bodes well for them, right, if that is indeed the case. So I know that probably in this earnings report, the expectations will be slightly higher compared to their previous earnings report, which wasn't a double beat, but a very nice increase in revenue. I mean, this is a huge jump, right? This is a almost 24% reading here, right, of the actual compared to the expected. So hopefully the earnings number improves here in the next quarterly earnings report. But yeah, I mean, I think the expectations will be high, but I really hope that this company is able to give us finally a double beat if this AI integration plays out. And obviously the new leadership, especially from COO of Shopify. And I didn't even know that until recently, a couple minutes ago. So that's pretty. I would say that's giving me more confidence in this ticker, and most likely, hopefully, we see opendoor going over $10 at that point. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I really wanted to go over open with you guys, giving you guys my technical insight. Hopefully that was a very in-depth insight. and give you guys my my little financials of the company and the overall fundamental perspective on this company based on my filter system that I have from Koifen. Again, I'm not sponsored by them. Hopefully, maybe in the future I could be sponsored. I really love this platform. But yeah, this is what I use, right? And I made up my own my little filter here. Again, I really made this my own filter. Okay, so this is what I use, right? Again, this is not really an in-depth look, but it gives me a very quick snapshot as to how the company is doing. Okay, so don't be, you know, sad that I didn't do an in-depth fundamental analysis. If you guys already know what I do, if you guys have been with us for a long time, you guys know that my main form of analysis is technical analysis. Okay, so if you guys are not about that life, then well, I don't know what to tell you. But hey, I do a lot deeper fundamental analysis in my CFO Swinger Watch Report. So if you guys want to become a reader of that report, make sure you guys look at the description box down below. The very second link will guide you to the page where you guys can subscribe and become a reader of the CFO Swinger Watch Report. And I can always say this with full confidence. You guys will 1000% learn something, even if you guys just want to stick around for a month, right? Maybe you guys want to just stick around for a month and see what this, you know, CFO Swinger Watch Report really does. But I can 1000% guarantee you guys will learn something. Okay, I am very, very confident in that. Why? Because I am the writer. I'm the writer of the report. So yeah, please check it out. If you guys have any questions regarding the report, please DM me on Instagram at chartsfocus1. If you guys don't know how to spell it, well, how did you find me on YouTube? Right? My channel name is right there, chartsfocus1. It's the same handle for Instagram. So please DM me if you guys have any questions at all regarding the CFO Swinger Watch Report. And also, if you really want, ask me about a certain ticker that you guys may be looking at. I will be happily helping you figure out what you should be taking away from a ticker's technical chart. All right? Okay, well, that's it for tonight, guys. I will most likely not have a stream tomorrow, just solely because of the fact that, you know, it's a very busy day tomorrow. And again, if I even do a stream, the post FOMC and post mega cap ER, peak season ER, earning season here, is going to invalidate whatever I try to say tomorrow night. And again, that usually happens, guys, on massive days like that. The next day, we get even more of a digestion of whatever happened the previous day, especially on a day like that. Like tomorrow. So I will most likely try to do a stream maybe on Thursday night or even Friday night. But yeah, I'll let you guys know. That's TBD. Yeah, that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. And hopefully, I really hope to see you guys in the next stream. All right. Good luck tomorrow and have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much for watching.